Recording. There you go. All right, so we will talk a little bit emotional, how you can get emotional, how they can get emotional. We're gonna talk a little bit how to navigate those emotions and sensitive topics. Definitely we need to touch base on the professional boundaries here because it's going to be very, very important. And then we can talk a little bit about the self-care. And oh, I missed one slide. We have one extra slide as well over there, which is difficult patients and how to look at them. All right. Understanding emotional intensity. So what's going on here and why we want to talk about it? Well, look at this as all the problems and all the risks are not anymore hospital clinic related. All those problems and risks are now directly human, direct kind, right? So if you're doing any assignment and you are delivering those information and there is that sensitive setting in the room where you now going to be in a serious appointment, we can take actually under the example maybe end of life discussion, which lately happening a lot. And interpreter over there is needed because first of all, they're going to talk about any critical diagnosis. There might be some mental health consultations. The subject and the entire atmosphere will be serious. And there'll be a lot of emotions involved in that. So now you are not only included in the random conversation, but now you are included in that one particular important human's moment of their life. So that changes a little bit how you have to approach this situation. So when you step in those encounters, whenever those things are happening, and now you were like stepping into that the room and the space where all those people are involved and those emotions are just hitting hard, you will hear a lot of very difficult words to say, to explain, to translate, and then the family may be struggling over there to process all those information as well. So if you go into translate all those, well, let's be honest, devastating news, you need to be aware how to do that. Because all that situation is very sensitive, very emotional, you as a human will be shocked as well. And there is nothing that you can avoid that, unless you will shut down your emotions totally. But you will be you'll be like actively taking part of that event. So when the doctor will say and will deliver that diagnosis, the patient's gonna now try to kind of like absorb this message, this news. Everyone are suddenly silent. Now the questions will start coming up from the family maybe. then the doctor will have to answer some difficult questions. You need to be prepared that there will be a lot of conversation involved in that, and maybe 2-3 voices gonna speaking at the same time. So you will still need to be that person that we talked about this yesterday, holds the control of the room. You need to still find and filter the messages that actually matter and need to be delivered. And you need to be absolutely focused in those situations. Now, it's not only that their emotions are involved, but probably your emotions will be involved in that too, especially if that's going to be maybe your first appointment like that. And honestly, from the emotional approach, I'm not sure if there's anyone who can prepare you for this, because no matter how many trainings you will do, it's just a theory. You actually need to do it in practice. And we can talk about this, we can explain the situations, but at the end of the day, you will be the person who will be actively taking part of that situation. And you have to stay neutral. You cannot show them your emotions. You need to have the control to still separate the voices. You need to know how to act in those situations. So understanding at least the theory of that events will help you enter that room with like a little bit more, I'm not sure if you can say calm, kind of like maybe a peace of mind, that you will know what you can expect now, even if you haven't done this before, but you at least know what you can expect and what topic will be touched in that situation, right? So that's when those situations will happen, and the interpreters are needed for that. And you just need to know how to proceed in this situation, right? Now, how you can manage those emotions? Well, if there is an end of life conversation, of course, well, there'll be some mental health issues. There might be some trauma involved. You are not only translating the words in this case. You are pretty much in the middle. If you remember, I was talking about this triangle in the room, and now you're standing in the middle of that triangle. And you are part of that critical moment for them, right? So if you will feel sad and you will hear those bad news, you still need to defeat your anxiety. You have to defeat your emotions. So it's going to be a huge battle in your head, because you cannot show the family or the patients or the doctor that now you are more emotional than them. How to deal with that? Well, first of all, you'll need to set up your own boundaries for yourself. So if that situation is happening, maybe you are entering that room and you will translate for the first 15-20 minutes, and you might to ask for a little break. If you need a break, take those 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, grab a glass of water, just try to not think about this too much. Stay on the corridor, maybe, just something that will distract you for those 5 minutes, so your brain, your mind can rest a little bit. then you can just enter back to the room and continue. Another thing, again, well, that's something that will come eventually practicing, but you will be able to approach those appointments knowing exactly what is going on, and your mind also going to stop working in that very emotional way at some point, because you're just going to be used to it. That's what is happening, let's say, with the police officers or the doctors or the soldiers, right? There's a lot of situations where, well, they're dropped to something on the first time, but eventually they are used to it and they're mentally prepared for that as well. So that's something that can actually help, right? Oh, I didn't even swap the slide. Oh my, okay, sorry for that. Why no one told me? So when you are taking part of that, it calls kind of like absorb. You have to absorb your emotions, right? You will hear it. You will hear the bad news. You will try to process those bad news, and eventually you will need to deliver those bad news. So it will take just a second in your head, but you still need to keep in mind. Again, we have to go back to the accuracy and being neutral. Well, that you cannot cross the line when you're gonna start softening the things. You will avoid words. You will try to be too soft for them, or too harsh, or too emotional. Well, you don't want to deliver the message, being absolutely sad or crying, because that will just not gonna work very well, right? So it's something that, yes, you will have to absorb that, and you will need to eventually know how to work with that, because you will start receiving more and more appointments. So we're not only talking about end of life situations, we're talking about all different situations where there's a critical topic involved, right? And in that case, you need to know how to keep, how to still act to that. So definitely in those moments, you do not want to rush anyone, or you do not want to rush your statements and delivering your message. You still want to stay in your calm mood, I would say. Definitely do not try to fix the situation. Do not try to cheer up people. You are not there for that. You are only doing the you are only delivering the message. You are only translating the words here. Keep eye on the different things that are happening in the room. Like, let's say, how the way how people breathe. If there is a slow breathing, or they're breathing very, very fast, maybe there's that stress involved. What is the posture? How they reacting? Definitely mental preparation for this. Keep in mind that you are delivering the message as only words. You are not delivering that burden that went to the doctor, because actually the doctor is carrying that actual burden of the bad news. You are only delivering the message and the words that the doctor is saying. So absolutely do not take anything personally. That's very important, because eventually at some point it will be just too much for you. So all those appointments cannot be taken personally at all. Keep that in mind. Again, keep in mind that you can take those brief, quick breaks, pauses, just to calm yourself down, or just rest a little bit, right? So if we're talking about like, if you will have to summarize that, and whenever you're going into the room for critical appointments and critical diagnosis, it's kind of like you are present there as a body, but it cannot affect you personally and emotionally, if that makes sense. You are switching, you have to just flip the switch and change to a machine that only will, like, spit the words, pretty much, right? Kind of sounds harsh, but there's no other way how we can say that. You have to be prepared for this. Again, accuracy is a very, very important key. Staying neutral, it's very important there. And you have to keep those boundaries as well. You cannot cheer up people. You cannot soften things. You cannot play the role of their friend in those situations, right? So just keep that in mind, that it's very important in those appointments. All right. Wait, did I switch the, do I have the proper slides? Oh, there you go. I was one behind. Okay. All right. So how are navigating this? Now, that's where we're talking about this theory that I was mentioning. How what I can tell you, or any other training sessions will tell you, and what is actually happening in real life. So again, it doesn't matter how prepared you are for those appointments. There always will be the moment, there will be always a one or the other appointment, or where those things can shift very quickly and can change from regular appointment to very emotional appointment, from a peaceful appointment to very uncomfortable appointment. And there is no way to get you ready for this. You have to go through that. You have to go to your first appointment and see how that actually works. A lot during those sessions, a lot of time you will see the situations where the patients, let's say, they're speaking and suddenly they're just gonna stop. They're just gonna break in the mid sentence. They're just gonna stop talking because there will be situations when the doctors or the healthcare providers now will also want to rush the appointment from their end, and let's say the healthcare provider will want to deliver any critical diagnosis, like life-changing news, to them very, very quickly, just to get it done. Another thing, yes, the family members are always there, so now they're gonna start talking to each other. There was like 4 uncles and 5 aunties, and all of them gonna start talking at the same time. It will be difficult for you. Now you are in the middle of this chaos, right? So like everything, the conversations can be, suddenly can happen very emotional, very unpredictable, very difficult. That's where you have to keep those the control here. So in the theory, it sounds pretty easy to do, but whenever you will actually be in those appointments, it's gonna be difficult for you. It's gonna be difficult for you, and probably the first maybe 3, 5, or 10 appointments will be bad for you. and you will get some bad experience from them. There will be a different topics that you will not like eventually. But that's how it is if you want to go into this direction. If you want to especially go into more professional medical appointments, and maybe in the future you want to work for the hospitals or private clinics, that's something that you might be involved eventually on a daily basis. I know that some of the hospitals in Alberta and in BC, I think some of the hospitals have their own interpreters. They have their own translation departments, and the interpreters are working there, let's say, for 8 hours a day. And now, if during the 8 hours you're gonna go through like 5, 6, or 10 critical appointments, well, yes, it can be exhausting, and it will be, if you are not prepared, it's gonna be painful for you for sure. Now, whenever there is a silence in the room, probably we all experience that. There is that bad news coming up, the bad diagnosis coming up, and now you have this awkward silence in the room, and no one wants to talk, or no one knows what to say anymore. Yeah, it feels very uncomfortable, very awkward, but usually, if we're talking about the healthcare situations, that is the time when the patient is processing what was just told. That's one of the reasons why there is a silence. Sometimes the healthcare providers, because they already know how to talk to people, sometimes they are giving that a little bit of pause of silence for the patients, right? And well, eventually you can see that emotions are building up. So if the silence is there, just keep your eye open, because you don't want to jump to those conclusions, or you don't want to jump to the interpretation too fast. You're interpreting something important, life-changing situations, and in that case, you kind of need to follow the same idea that let's say the healthcare provider, right? So if they are making those pauses and giving the patient a little bit of time to process the whole situation, well, you can do the same thing as well. So silence is not always bad. It's just something that people need to just figure out what's going on, right? That's why we're going to the situation when you don't want to rush anything. So why no rush in those settings? Well, when difficult news is delivered to the patients, there is a lot of very often the people start to talking very fast. They are getting nervous, they're getting stressed, they just want to go through that, right? They just want to get it done. So you need to be aware in those situations, especially like if a provider says something like diagnosis, and now it's like too fast for like they're saying this very fast. Try to not rush it that much for delivering those messages. So you can slow your flow a little bit slightly, not too much, because again, you don't want to change the tone, but you want to give the patient that idea how serious is the situation. So again, your tone need to be steady. You need to still approach this very respectfully, and just let the message look at the message you're delivering, and believe me, you will see that in their eyes whenever they actually gonna process it and understand what's happening to them. So another thing, you don't want to give any extra emotions, because when you start rushing the news, you can add this little bit of feeling like, yeah, you just want to get everything done and you just want to leave the room, right? So you want to be sure that all those words, all the messages, will land properly, and the patient will understand everything about that. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the fragmented speech, that's again when we are experiencing the silence and those pauses. So whenever the emotions are taking over, that speech, their conversation, the way how they will speak, might be sometimes can be like broken. Uh, they will start, they will keep talking about the same thing over and over again. Some of the answers might not be very complete, right? So in those situations, you will see how like there's no more meaningful information to be delivered. Instead of that, they'll be very messy. So you still need to deliver the same messages without, again, you cannot summarize that. You cannot make the explanations. You do not want to complete that speech that was already incomplete. You will still go with the same flow. And that's where also like you have to match that tone of the speakers, right? You have to match also how that like if they're speaking softly, you speaking softly. If they're speaking very like firm or aggressive, yes, you have to deliver those messages as well. So here you are responsible pretty much for the flow of the tone, still keeping accuracy, and kind of respecting the emotions involved in that. So there's a lot going on, and there will be a lot for you to also process in your head how to deliver the interpretation, right? So especially if, let's say, if there will be multiple people, so again, if there's family involved in that, it's not just the patient. You do not want to show that something is wrong, that you cannot handle the situation, and you want to stay calm. Filter the messages. You do not try to interpret any overlapping speech. That's where you have to filter who is speaking what. And then also keep in mind that you are there for the patient. So the patient is number one priority here. He's the speaking leader of the event, right? Number two person for that will be the healthcare provider. So you have to keep control in the room, and you have to know exactly who is talking first, who is the second, and then at the end we have the let's say the screaming family members who are talking to each other all the time. So you try to definitely filter out any background noises and focus on definitely on the patient and the healthcare provider. The good idea is state that on the beginning, or like if it's gonna go in a little bit out of control, you can stop everyone and you can just shortly explain them, still be professional, be but you can clarify to people like, hey, this is what is happening, the situation is escalating, I will have to translate for the patient and the healthcare provider, right? So because eventually the problem usually is with family members in all types of appointments, well, they cannot be removed from the room, and sometimes it is difficult. You will just have to use to it, probably, that there is someone behind you as well, right? So that's something that you will, well, with your experience, eventually you will get to that. Now, the most uncomfortable situations that the speech can be, again, a little bit different, a little bit fragmented. You still need to have the control over that and keep the flow. So probably the most uncomfortable will be like whenever the patients are crying or like shutting down themselves totally. If there's like a real actual devastating news delivered by the healthcare providers, right? Family members that will start to be rude, they will start to interrupt, they will start to argue. So in those situations, you need to be prepared. Again, you don't want to rush emotions of the patients, or you don't want to rush any heavy statements that will be delivered from the healthcare provider. If there is a silence, allow that spot, just keep that pause for that silence for them so they can process what is going on in this situation. If you have to deal with the family members, again, you can politely, still in a professional way, tell everyone in the room that, please, I have to interpret it one by one, and I'm focusing on the patient and the doctor here, right? So that's something that will be very important in that. All right. Oh, no, go back. I lost again something. So, which professional boundaries? Where are my professional boundaries here? All right, well, never mind. All right, so yeah, your professional boundaries during all those appointments, it's kind of like will be very difficult in the beginning. It's kind of like, it's not because it's complicated or it's difficult, but keeping those boundaries in those sensitive topics kind of will go against, like you will feel like you're doing something against yourself, setting up the boundaries, right? So now you have to be this speaking machine, but from the other hand, you are still a human and you still have your instincts. And if there will be someone in the room who gonna cry or be scared, well, there will be those natural human reactions included. That's where you can start feeling the same thing. And like I said before, or you're gonna shut down your emotions totally, or you will actually be impacted by that. So that is the human nature, and you cannot fight with it. It's just something that's going to be very difficult, right? So as an interpreter, you will need to keep in mind that, well, I would say start from setting up the boundaries during the easy appointments. And eventually it's going to go like step by step from very easy to more difficult appointments, and it will something that will come to you more easily than just don't do anything and suddenly you'll be in a critical appointment and now you have to set up your boundaries and, well, you will not able to handle it, right? So that's something to keep in mind, to practice about that. Also, create your own boundaries that you do not want to people to cross, and now the line that you don't want to cross, right? Because as an interpreter, you will be involved in a lot of those conversations, and again, those human instincts will hit, and suddenly you will want to give a support to person. You will want to be a friend to the person. You don't want to, but eventually you might to try to provide some, decision-making situations or ideas, right? You will try to cheer up the patient. So you have to keep in mind those are the lines that you cannot cross as well. So you will not therefore making decisions. That's for the doctors. You are not to support person and cheer them up to be their friend over there. You have to keep that in mind. Definitely, you are not responsible for either of the sides, how they speak, and what emotions are involved in that conversation. So your main role will be only to deliver the message accurately, stay neutral, and be responsible for your own boundaries. So until the communication has the flow and everyone understands each other, you are fine. You are fine. Because when you will start offering advices and you will start offering maybe some personal, experience and that happened to me as well, and you know what I did, and you might have the good intentions. Again, that you are just human and you might have those good intentions, but if you will step out the role, and the healthcare provider is going to notice that, well, it will affect you, it will affect us, it will affect pretty much everyone else. They might just remove you from the session, they might to cancel the session, there might be a lot of different situations, right? Another problem for yourself, if you will start crossing those boundaries, those lines, from one appointment to another, it's just going to be easier for you to do it again and again and again. And eventually, if they will not, no one going to notice that in the first 5 appointments, and you will just keep going, doing that more and more, eventually they're going to notice that. So again, they will just remove you from the location. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. The boundaries are important on both sides here. Now, if we're talking about the boundaries, you still need to remember you're just a human. And setting up those boundaries, it's not something that you are being rude or you're too cold for them or you don't want to deal with them. Like the compassion can be there still, but you have to act professional, right? So even if there is your compassion on your side, well, you can still deliver the message as it's delivered from the doctor, right? In the tone. Like you still need to show that professional presence over there. You can allow those emotions whenever they will be involved. You can let it go. Kind of like a still deliver those emotions in the words. So if there is a serious topic and your emotions will be involved in that, and now you cannot do anything about it, deliver the message. Again, take a break, take a time for yourself, because whenever you're gonna get that done, eventually you will keep doing this all the time, and it will be a bad habit for you, and it can switch very fast. So that's definitely something that we have to keep in mind for this, right? another thing that we're talking about is, where are the guys? The difficult patient. So now those emotions from sadness and depression can end up to anger and the patients who want to do the dramas, maybe the family members will be there as well, right? So as an interpreters, again, you need to focus on the patient. So you need to, again, set up the boundaries. If you're gonna feel that something is off, you have to tell them, like, this is your role, this is my role, this is the doctor's role. Any expectations, any behaviors, like, you still need to stay calm. You still need to deliver clear message. Do not get involved in arguments. The good thing is that you can watch the patient, for example, if there's any early signs of their change of the behavior or like their emotions, their attitude, and what's going to happen. Like most of us can pretty much quickly recognize if a person is changing, right? So there are those signals before the whole thing will escalate, right? And sometimes the behavior is going way before the words that will be spoken. So what you want to do here, still stay calm, watch the person. Definitely, if there are any personal attacks on you, like verbal attacks, you have to ignore that. It's part of the situation, part of your job. And you cannot take anything personal for this. If they will start calling the names the doctor, well, you will have to deliver the same message to the doctor as well, right? If something will like really go wild and will escalate to something very serious and dangerous situation, leave the room. You leave the room. You don't want to be there. You can report that to the nurse or to the doctor, or maybe there's a safety person. But definitely, you do not want to support that behavior over there. And if it can affect your safety, yeah, definitely you don't want to be around that person, right? So something that you have to keep in mind. You are still the most important person there, and your safety comes first. The good thing is that over the last 4 years, I did not hear about anything serious with the patients. So usually it's okay. Patients are not very aggressive. Yes, they can be sad, they will be angry, and sometimes we can't blame them. It's just life, and this is what is happening. But again, I did not hear anything about very serious situations, either from the interpreters or from the doctors. So, yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine. If you'll be involved in situations, probably most of you were involved in the situations from WCB, where all the claimants, they are angry. They can be angry, they can be sad. There's a lot going on. Sometimes you are taking a part of the psychological appointments with them, where again, emotions are involved in that. So those are the sessions that can prepare you for the future more difficult appointments, right? Because here during the WCB appointments, you will also see a lot of different emotions, a lot of like ethical situations, changes in the behavior. how the messages are delivered by the different doctors or by the psychologists, right? So you want to keep eye on that, and you want to practice in those sessions, because even if the emotions are involved there, well, they're pretty safe. So nothing should happen over there. Okay, so at the end of the day, you're done, and what to do now? Well, you want to take a rest. So whenever you will walk out, finish your appointments, uh, you want to take a break. I know that some of the interpreters do not really care too much, and they can do like one appointment, which is very difficult. So only they're gonna do another phone call in 10 minutes. But that's how you're gonna eventually burn out, and you will get exhausted from that. So you want to have at least some time for yourself, especially if you are doing a difficult appointment. You want to stay away from any interpretation. I don't know, maybe for an hour or 2 hours. It's just that keep in mind that this whole emotional load that was just loaded in your head for the last 2 hours, you cannot even unload that, because now you're taking another appointment. Now you're involved in another situations with another patient. So try to avoid that, especially if you're taking anything like serious appointments, right? Another thing that you want to look into is take the time for yourself right after the appointment. Just take a sit, just maybe leave the building, now the weather is getting better. Just stay on the fresh air for a little bit. Just breathe, right? Yes, you can do like a quick reflection, like just a quick back up, like what happened, and process that. But have those few minutes for yourself. Just take a rest, and it will just help you out to calm down a little. Now, the worst situations that you will be involved, and that whenever you will want to take some breaks, are those serious diagnoses, or the end of life situations, or any really critical appointments. And it's not just the legal. In the medical settings, it can happen as well. In the criminal cases, in the family matter, you might be involved in those very serious situations, right? So that's something you have to take under consideration. Because even if you are trained, well, you're trained in theory here, you are still a human, and those things will affect you in the one way or another, definitely. If you need to take a rest, a day or two, just do it. Don't think about it, just do it. If, let's say, you will do your appointment first time and you will realize, okay, this is totally not for me, well, let us know as well, like, hey, I don't want to do it anymore, please don't send me those appointments anymore, I don't want to be involved, right? Because you do matter here as well. You are taking a lot on your shoulders. There's a lot of heavy weight on your shoulders when you're participating in all emotional appointments. Other than that, also, if you're doing just the regular appointments, find time for yourself. a lot of interpreters is working a lot because they're like, okay, so yes, I can earn some money here and there, but none of the interpreters usually realize how your brain is occupied almost 24/7, right? And how your short memory is occupied almost 24/7 as well. Like your brain is working on the like double or triple speed most of the time whenever you're doing the appointments, and you have to still provide all the interpretation. So if you need a break, you feel that you need to take some rest, just do it. Just do it. Definitely, it will help you out. Right. If you want to build kind of like a long-term shield for yourself, the best way probably how to build it, it's going to be through like, experience participating in the appointments, building like your own habits, creating those boundaries, learning about the different appointments and how to approach them. So eventually you will build up so good that those critical appointments will turn to regular appointments for you, and you will keep this as a job only. You're doing stuff from 1 to 3 and you're going home, you're done. But it's a very long path. Like it needs a lot to practice on that, and also not everyone are prepared for this, right? So no matter what appointment you will do, if it's just casual, if it's medical, legal, at the end of the day, you need to keep in mind to take care of yourself after that. You need to take a rest. You need to separate, definitely learn how to separate that work, this job, from your life. That cannot affect your life after the working hours. You have to be sure that those emotions that you were experiencing in the morning will not affect your life in the evening or your family's life, right? So definitely, if there are any options that you think you might like, I know there's a lot of different options how to, decompress and take care of yourself and have a good time. You can find probably a lot of different information in the internet for that. Where are the places or how you can do things. So definitely I recommend that. Because yes, even if it's just a job, but that job is affecting you at some point. So taking care of yourself is very important here. Okay. And well, eventually it will help you build up this resilience here, and it will help you out to like be a better professional as well. Okay, that's it for today. We're done. See, that's what I'm talking about, the awkward silence. Interpreters need to know how to proceed with that. Hi, questions, concerns? Who doesn't like the topic? Come on, guys. Let's have a chat. Did anyone did any critical appointments already? Okay.
I guess a Peter, like it's not critical, but it's too emotional when you go to the child service.
Yes, it is. Well,
Yeah.
depends, right? But yes, if there are situations in that it's not just about the kids now, but it's also about the family members as well, parents. Um, yes, there's a little bit going on, and you also need to know how to work with kids, right? Because you have to deliver that message to the parents, and now the kid's gonna hear that. They're gonna start to cry. So there is a little bit going on in those situations. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Peter, how do you define like child service and difference between like child service and youth probation center?
A probation center, is it not for the little hooligans or something?
I know something about the youth probation, but I don't know how interpreter works there and why do they need the interpreters? What are the
Um,
cases? I mean, actually, yeah.
well, we did not have any cases over there yet, as far as I
Oh,
know,
okay,
from our
got it.
office. We never worked with those centers before. If we're talking about actual medical sessions for kids, yes, usually those are like the pediatric appointments. Um, Not like very intense appointments. Uh, it can be sometimes it can be a little bit more challenging if we're talking about the um, technical aspect of the appointment. Um, Maybe there is a training for the parents, for example, right? How to work with the with something for the kids. Let's say if the kid is a diabetic, the baby is diabetic. So in that case, now the parents need to learn how to operate the insulin pump, for example. They need to know how to keep the maintenance for the insulin pump, what will be the dosage, what are the procedures. So in that case, it's not like very sensitive topic, but more heavy in the technical matter. That's where um, not the emotions are coming up, but more terminology, for example, right? Um, but again, it all depends from the sessions, and usually when there is a heavy session for medical or legal appointment, well, that's again when I'm helping out interpreters, uh getting them ready, and we are working on that together to figure out what's going to be the best uh strategy for the appointment as well, right? Before even booking anyone, we always ask interpreters first if they want to proceed in that. Do they want to join this type of session? So again, it's not like where you guys are never forced to do anything. We're gonna ask you first, and it's gonna be totally up to you how to approach that appointment, right? Any other questions? Wow, you guys are so quiet in the last 2 weeks. It was much better in the first week. All right. Well, if we have no questions, yes, now some of those topics will be a little bit shorter than the previous ones. I mean, it's not that there is less material, but just the webinar might be a little bit shorter. So currently, the yesterday webinar is already uploaded on YouTube. The one from today will be uploaded tomorrow morning. And then we're gonna hop into some legal stuff again for that. Okay. Yes, stop.